Alright, so today we are back with some more Winds and Leaves. I enjoyed... Ooh, this seems different. I think these are all, overgrown. Oh, I have, I have the move controllers on the wrong hands. Just swap my hands for a second. Yeah, today we're back with Winds and Leaves. I enjoyed our time with it last time. Quite a lot, actually. More so than I thought. And I've also done a lot more research now that I have enjoyed my time with it. So we'll be talking a little bit about that today. So, like, last time... My hands are correct now, that's nice. Last time, I went into this essentially blind. And with just some vague understandings about it. It looked cool. I vaguely knew, like, it was about planting trees and exploring a weird wasteland kind of area. But I didn't know exactly what I was getting into. And I was kind of testing myself with that, with also the fact that I don't really do... Well, I haven't really done VR in over half a decade or so. So, I was just choosing to do it like that to see how everything would go. And everything was I thought everything went very well. I enjoyed it. I didn't feel sick afterwards from using the VR for a few hours either, which is good. I kind of assumed I wouldn't, but today I'm not going to take a ibuprofen before I do this, so we're going to see if I get a headache afterward or not. I didn't last time. I took an ibuprofen before. So... yeah, I'm really curious where this goes. On that mark, before we actually do continue, I may as well just choose to continue, because we'll just be put back where we were last time. I did a lot of research into some various aspects of this game. I looked up Trebuchet, who are the developers. They, unfortunately, in my opinion, it's a little unfortunate, they seem to focus they are a VR game company. Specifically, that seems to be the market that they intentionally develop for. Almost exclusively, it seems. If not exclusively. They're Canadian, and the audio company... It's a audio collective... Let me take my headset off, because I wrote a lot of this note stuff down. I'm gonna just kind of... open my phone, go to notes. Oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff I wrote down last night to talk about. So, the developer of this game is Trebuchet. They're a small Canadian studio, mostly focusing on comedic VR games. That's kind of that's where I'm just like, oh, it's a bit of a shame. They focus more on, like, comedy, funny, indie VR games. The kind of stuff that I see, like, Vinny Vinesauce or maybe Joel play for like a one-off kind of thing. It's that kind of quality that I would expect of like Thief Simulator or like Drug Dealer Simulator. They make like these kind of comedy-esque kind of games. Not that it's exactly like that quality where like it's asset flip type games, but just like, to me, from what I vaguely have seen, like they make some sort of not pigeon, but just like some sort of crime boss chicken game or something like that, which might explain why the character here has kind of like bestial chicken-ish kind of claws. To me, this looks much more mammalian than like bird-ish, but it's like it's just like the amount of fingers and such on it. But, yeah, they seem to focus more on, like, dumb party joke VR game type things, which is a bit of a shame because this seems to be, like, their one fully artistic outing from what I've seen. And I'm very glad that their website actually still has, like, press kits and stuff on it. I downloaded a bunch of that stuff. I got to see some of the concept art for this game. They seem to have taken this very seriously when it came out, but from their social media and such afterwards, they haven't talked about this game in about 4 years now, pretty much soon since after this game came out. I think they updated this I think they've done some updates for the Steam version, and apparently, I wrote this down in my notes as well, The biggest original issue with this game on PlayStation 4/5, apparently this was reported by a lot of people who were playing PlayStation VR on their PS5 back when this came out. Apparently this game had a lot of crashes originally, and I'm not sure if that's like a hardware side thing, if people were playing this on their PS5 versus the PS4, or if this was just a cross-platform issue. But apparently the game's biggest issue that apparently has been patched out. I haven't had the game crash yet. So apparently that was the biggest issue, was crashing. Yeah, that's the thing, is like reviewing the footage for this game, this all looks really, really good in 2D. In 3D, it looks great, but like still, the shimmering effect on a lot of the small especially once you get towards like those way off over there, like 15 feet in front of me or whatever, that over there looks really shimmery, and if you stare at it, it gets really disorientating. Yeah, just all that, like 10, 15 feet in front of you out there. If you just stare at that, that just gets really disorientating with the cell shading that it has. It looks great when you're moving around and such like this if you're not focusing on it. But visually, that's my kind of only like, yeah, I think like maybe, I don't know if there's like a weird way to like change a frame rate regarding the plant life, or if it's just like how that kind of shading interpolates itself at this resolution with this frame rate in VR, or what. I am a techie, but I'm not a VR techie, so I'm like, I am very much a 3D enthusiast, but how this kind of shading works in 3D, I'm not familiar with. I'm much more familiar with like stereoscopes and the 3DS and like 3D movies and stuff, so you can't really replicate this kind of visual style with the stereoscope. In any case, there were a few other things I wanted to talk about. Yeah, they're a small Canadian studio. They seem pretty alright as a studio itself, as I push the headset back on. They seem to have some good people working there. I don't know them. But, yeah. I hope... My hope with the whole, like, it seems like they just make goofy games now and such. I'm just like, I hope they make more thoughtful things like this. I know that this game didn't sell superbly, but honestly, looking at their resume, I can't imagine their other games are selling about as well either. No diss to them. But, they're in that weird realm of the indie Canadian scene where, like, they're part of another collective group, apparently, that is a nothing group, and it's linked with a ton of other, like, small indie game studios that have maybe, like, one or two games that nobody's heard about either. So I'm just like, yeah, I hope they keep making stuff like this. It's weird. It's really interesting. And looking at the development of it, there's not a whole lot for the development of this that's out there publicly from what I could see, but a lot of the concept art was really, really interesting. There's only a few pieces of it. This is another one of those games where it's like, I would love to have an art book of this, because it seems like there were a lot of interesting ideas. Even an art zine. I hate zines because they're so cheap and lazy as production pieces for art. But I'm just like, if there were like a nice little art book or something, a little hardback art book or something, I would buy it. I would absolutely buy that. Because the art I have seen for this game, for its development period, looked pretty good. Kind of reminiscent of Mobius a little bit. Some stuff that kind of reminded me of Nausicaa, as I've said before last time. Yeah, just really interesting stuff. I'm just getting kind of acquainted with the motor controls again while I'm yapping. Let me look at the notes. So, back on the original topic I talked about at the start of the previous part. So, I talked about at the very beginning last time about how virtually nobody has played this, and that still is true. I checked that out maybe 6 months ago when I was thinking about getting this game. By the way, that symbol there is saving, I now know. And that very much weirdly is actually kind of true, in the fact that if you look up on YouTube playthroughs or videos about this game, 95, if not 100% of them are from 4 to 5 years ago, when this game was coming out, as a digital release. I have it as a physical release, which came out a few years later. I assume with patches and such on the disc, I don't know. But in any case, this game came out a few years ago, and it was entirely covered, from what I've seen, by either people who were paid by the studio to promote it, or just by PlayStation VR enthusiasts. Like, those channels that you used to see. This was a weird phenomenon in the late 2010s specifically, where you would have YouTube channels dedicated entirely to advertising and marketing and showing off and let's playing stuff for like the PlayStation Vita or the PlayStation VR, because they were more niche consoles than the PS4 and the upcoming at the time PS5, and they wanted to corner like a very, very secular market to get views. I don't see too much of that anymore, but they would like do like news updates on like upcoming PlayStation VR or Vita games and such. Most of those channels have kind of died out at this point. It was a very brief, weird kind of moment in PlayStation YouTuberism. I don't know if that's a word or not. But most of that kind of content is dead these days. And the weirdest thing, like aside from just like people showing off their collections and generic collection videos and such, I don't pay any attention to this side of YouTube because it's not me. I'm not a collector. I'm not anything. I am literally just an artist, and I play video games. I'm a director. That's about it. But yeah, I'm aware from like almost a decade ago at this point, there used to be a lot of channels like that, and this is like one of those kind of last hurrahs for those channels that did this for the PlayStation VR. So you have maybe like 7 channels, and I mean that quite literally. There's like 7 or 8 channels on YouTube that did 15-minute to 30-minute let's look videos of this game, and that's it. The video I put up last time is already the longest video on YouTube for playing this game straightforward. I'm surprised about that. That's kind of crazy. And this game is apparently 7 to 8-ish hours long. I can see that from what I understand of this game itself. But yeah, if you just look up other videos and such, they're from people just really die hard into that's the thing. It's almost like marketing kind of stuff you see on Instagram these days, where they only talk about like PlayStation VR or whatever, and they want to put up like a 30-minute. Most of them are like 20 minutes or like 19 minutes long, just like booting up the game and stitching and cutting some parts of the gameplay together to make a very short consumable video about, hey, this game exists, look at it, give me some views, as I hit my arm on my table next to me. But yeah, so that's pretty wild in my opinion. Anyway, but let me take my headset off. The music for this game. So I actually did buy the soundtrack for this on iTunes after I played it last time. And the audio for this game is from an audio production collective called Vibe Avenue. I've never heard of them before, but I looked them up. There's no specifically credited artist for this, as I expect with audio production companies like that. I have to deal with artists, quote unquote, with big quotations between them. I have to deal with these kinds of organizations for my like actual work and such. Epidemic Sound is a big licensing / production company that is used for a lot of like, not stock music. They can make stock music if you want them to, but if you want to license out pre-existing music, or if you want to hire them to create custom soundtracks, they can do that. That is what Trebuchet has done here. They have commissioned out a soundtrack to this artist collective organization network business factory. I don't know what you want to call it. It's a great soundtrack. I just wish there was actually an artist credited for this, because it's pretty good. And the soundtrack itself, the titles for some of the songs kind of outed some of the concepts for this game for me, which tells me that whoever they did have compose this was given privy information on how this game, like the lore and how it all works and all that, which makes sense to me because, you know, they would have to know what's going on here to make the soundtrack. I think the soundtrack is very good. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. And on that note, with knowing some of the details, so there's lore. There actually is lore here. I know this is a big preamble yap, but I prefer doing it in-game while I'm kind of just getting adjusted to VR again and just kind of playing around with the motor controls. But okay, so I had to figure out, like, there's not really a whole lot of specific told in-game lore about what's going on, who are you, what's happening, what is your objective. And on the press kit sheet on Trebuchet's website, they have downloads for a bunch of the trailers for the game before the game came out and around when the game came out. And I downloaded all that stuff. I watched all of that stuff. And one of those trailers, only one of them, had, I believe it was the game's director, discuss, like, core concepts about what the game is and who you are, what you're doing, and what you can do. Which was very, very useful. That seemed like some very important information that I don't mind being just thrown into a game and just kind of figuring it out for yourself. That was the fun of last time. That absolutely was fantastic. But now that I want to settle in and get going with this game, it's very useful for me to just know what is actually going on here. So our character is apparently called the Gardener, or one of the Gardeners. And we are the last of a race of beings that has been wiped out by cataclysms in this world. And our job here in the game is to restore nature to prevent more cataclysms and restore nature, restore the world. Apparently there are no enemies. I'm just taking that at face value of what has been said about the game. Apparently there are no direct enemies. It's just you surviving and progressing through the game. Is there anything I'm missing? Yeah, healing the force, activate. You have to activate mechanisms and Panamona. So Panamona is the title track of the first song on the soundtrack for this video game. And I was curious about that word. It's a really niche word, apparently. I had some difficulty looking it up, but it apparently means that this is a Panamona. This is like a do-it-yourself kind of traditionally made windmill-type device. It's things like this, things like the windmills that we've been seeing in the distance and such. See if we can see one from over here or anything. The fact that there's a construct over there tells me that we will eventually have to go over there. Apparently there's a whole lot of different biomes in this game. Yeah, I don't see any specifically here right now, but just like the windmills that we've seen occasionally while playing this game, those are Panamona. And yeah, we essentially have to restore them. We have to restore nature. We have to activate the mechanisms like we found back that way to help progress through the game, get different seed types. And that's kind of it. It's just restoring everything around us. Is there anything I'm missing from that? Oh, there's two other things. Wait, is it? No, two other things. So apparently later on in the game, we are going to get some sort of jumping ability. That was shown off in some of the trailers where I'm assuming it involves like those bars up there that you see. Specifically in some of the trailers, it shows you jumping from tree to tree really, really, really fast. So I'm curious how that's going to look in VR from first person. But also, this has a name. And I figured it out from the soundtrack also has a track called it, but it's called the Time Mill. And it was talked about a little bit in one of the trailers as well. But it does actually, it's not just like the device or something. It is called specifically the Time Mill. So that's it. We are... Oop, we don't need that. We are the Gardener in this destroyed world using the Time Mill, a device made by the ancients to progress time to help restore the world. And that's kind of it. And these are Panamona. Right, so the biggest issue today, now that we're going to get started, that's just all the lore I got. But, yeah, so... I'd say one of the other, I'd say one of the other kind of weird things that I wouldn't have thought of with this game is they seem to try and be marketing this game as a quote-unquote cozy game. This isn't really cozy, to be honest. This is, given the desolate nature of this game, nice voice crack, given the desolate nature of this game and the isolationism along with just the puzzle aspects and the ever-looming threat of death from exposure, essentially, here, I don't really find this cozy, and I don't know who would. This is why it fascinates me. It's like, it has that kind of vibe of things like The Witness or Myst or Riven, where it's very empty, it's very beautiful, it's absolutely very beautiful, it's very much in tune with some natural, with a, well, overarching and ever looming natural themes to itself. That's kind of a core concept of this. But, like, the psychological vibe here is very... It's almost like you're being watched in that kind of way because you're so alone. It's I don't want to say like liminal or anything, but if you've played Myst, I'm a big Myst fan. I love Riven, Myst, and like I need to get around to replaying Exile and like Myst 4 and 5, but yes, there are more Myst games if you didn't know that there was just more than 2. Most people don't know that there was a 3, 4, and 5. But if you've played Myst, if you've played The Witness, if you've played games like Firewatch or What Remains of Edith Finch or Dear Esther, I love these games. These first-person adventure, story-driven, or environmentally driven art games, as I like to call them. Just like very thoughtful art games. Most of them have that weird kind of overarching... There's nobody here, and the game isn't designed for you to specifically feel like there's like a dude watching you at any point. In Riven there is, and in Firewatch there kind of is as well. But regardless of that, the vibe when you are here in this environment, regardless if it's in VR or just on your screen, there's that feeling that you're alone, but you also have this very, very heavy unease at the back of your head because you know that there is something waiting for you, and you also are a fish out... This is also a fish out of water situation. So that unease is inherent no matter what. So I would never call this a cozy game aside from maybe the art aesthetic choice for this. The game itself is absolutely not a cozy game, which might be a bit of a weird choice on the marketing team's thinking on how this game looks and plays. Maybe like you plant trees and such and watch them grow. You could argue that is cozy. But, like, in action, It's not like it's an action game, but there's that kind of weird, subtle sense of not specifically dread, but just like unease. Unease is probably the best way I could put it. I'm not sure if this guy's gonna live or not. Nope. There's another tree that started growing instead, but it's probably gonna die. I'm gonna plant a couple trees here and just see if anything might work. I do know we get more fruits. I've seen that from the trailers. My problem is I still don't fully understand, like, what those mean. The bottom symbol? The squares? Get the time mill. That other tree died. The grass is receding. Yeah. So we need to find some new type of seeds or a different path. So we're probably going to backtrack. Take a look at the battery. I will say also with that unease comes the soundtrack. Oh, are we like lower? Yeah, there we go. Comes the soundtrack. The soundtrack for this is kind of reminiscent of Riven, in my opinion, where it's very nice and beautiful sounding, but it has like that kind of hollow starkness to it. If you, like in moments like that when you're moving time. It's like, it's very synthetic, it's not orchestral or anything, but it's very beautiful. It has like a kind of starkness to it, which is an interesting audio design choice. It works exceedingly well for this, but that's just kind of another subconscious aspect of this. Okay, so I'm gonna cross here and just see, like, maybe we go over there. We just don't have the fruit, and we need the fruit. Okay, our battery's doing all right. Alright, so which path do we want to go down this time? First off, what's this up here? Yeah, my takeaway from looking up Trebuchet, they seem like a great company. They seem like a pretty good gang of guys and gals. And non-binaries and whomever they are. But, I kinda... Seeing how they have it... They the fact that they have had an idea like this tells me that they can make some pretty interesting things with the people they have. So I would hope to see more weird things like this. That's kind of my takeaways. I am a creative, so when I see people make some weird creative stuff, I'm like, keep going, keep going, keep doing it. Instead of making whatever like thing that they think can make more money. Which I know that's kind of a business sense thing, but it's like you gotta keep making your art until until you find that audience. This game has found an audience with me, but you know, I don't. I can tell you how to live your life, but I can't tell you how to make it right. That's kind of just a saying. So, okay. So what do we have here? I'm assuming this tree has the square square seeds. It looks different. It is different. It's shaped kind of like a heart. Okay, new fruit. So this is the one we actually need to progress in the other area. So we had to backtrack anyway. Oh man, there's a lot of them. Nice. That's the thing, is whenever I see a lot of creatives, and I meet and know a lot of creatives as well, whenever I'm very particular. I am a very particular eye with something I think works and is interesting, and things that are not. Things that need either some more work or need to be done in different ways. That's kind of my real job. So what I see here, I'm like, yes. And that tells me that this was a great idea. I think, I don't know, just the fact that this is on the PlayStation VR specifically and Steam, I'm not saying that this wouldn't have worked as like a 2D regular puzzle title of some sort. To me, the fact that this is in VR kind of elevates a lot of aspects about this. Otherwise, it would just be, you know, do this and, like, just kind of move forward. It would be kind of... The 3D actually is a bit of the art with this. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I am very much into 3D. I mean, my photography and art began with stereoscopes, so 3D is absolutely a way to present your art. The only problem with that is that it is a specific way to present your art. It's like having CRT art or something like that, like pixel art that is only supposed to be shown on a CRT monitor. When you present your art in a medium like this and as a visual format like this, it is unfortunately very reliant on the way people see it in person. It's a very in-person kind of thing. Which is fine if you go to conventions or to galleries or like have galleries or things like that. That's totally fine, but it does make it so like you can't really post an accurate representation of this on like Facebook or Instagram or anything like that. And also, explaining it to people is going to be a little bit more difficult as well, because it's kind of one of those things where you kind of have to be the one, in this case, in the headset, or be the person in front of the table that has the display. Come on, let me grab it. Oi. There we go. Like, I'm a member and a frequent visitor to the Art Institute in Chicago. And you're not going to get the same experience looking at a painting online. Like, if you go to see like Mondrian's work or something, I brought him up I think like last time maybe. I bring him up quite a bit because I like his work. If you see a Monet in person versus online, there's a physicality and a direct contact with yourself with the art. If you see it in person, there is a direct connection with it that is extremely important, in my opinion. So you're not going to get that same kind of like vibe is a dumb way to word it, but just like that kind of tangible, physical connection with things that you want to be influenced or inspired by, or just happen to get inspired by indirectly. There's nothing quite like that. Another form of art I would absolutely say is the same in that kind of manner is woodblock prints. I have a book of woodblock prints, like the actual woodblock prints on washi paper. And there's nothing like holding an actual print of woodblock print art on actual washi paper and feeling it and knowing that this was made by very dedicated and skilled craftsmen who are generally masters at what they do. There's nothing like that. You can't do that by looking up Google Images. I don't know. Once again, it's like, I can tell you how to live your life, but I can't tell you how to make it right. It's like, I will always praise people who make interesting, thoughtful, weird stuff. And it's always a real shame when I see those people stop. I've seen that happen quite a few times. And normally it's their own headspace that makes them stop. It's normally like, confidence or... It rarely ever is that like a money issue or something like that. It's almost always just like a... I don't think I can do this anymore kind of thing, which is, that's their life choice, that's their decision. It's just always a bit of a shame when I see what they have is like, you have it. You have what is not common in people. But, I don't know why this turned, like, I was just talking about, like, the dev studio and seeing that they seem to have had it. But, yeah, just talking about stuff like I'm going back to the Art Institute in a few weeks to take a look at some of the new galleries they have there and such, and I guess a mix of my real work and travel and my experience with art and as an artist and all that. Like, what I have currently right now, it's really weird to describe what I do for my art because I'm like a mix of a photographer, a painter, and a chemist for most of my art. Like, I take photos, but they essentially end up looking like stuff from Monet or Van Gogh for the most part. If you want to get just kind of like a rough idea. My main influences are Lasse Hoyle and Carl Glover in photography, but like most of my influences for art are not photographers. Which is kind of annoying because when I meet people, they're always like, oh, you must love Ansel Adams. And I don't really care for Ansel Adams because he was a puritanical jackass If you actually look up the guy and have done research, I obviously do this at like photography and such is my thing, so I've done plenty of research into him. But I'll just flatly say, his work is fine. His work is fine. It's not as great anymore because there are thousands of people who have made very similar pieces to him, and it is photography, so it just kind of, if you do something that somebody else has done, then it's all gonna look the same kind of situation. This is why every Instagrammer who like uses portrait film or camera filters for their Fujifilm camera, they all look the same, and you don't really have a whole lot of identity anymore. That's kind of why I do what I do, because virtually from my experience, nobody really does what I do. That's why I'm such a regionally and internationally known like person for this stuff. But yeah, I don't care for. Ooh, we got that lit up. Nice. I don't care for Ansel Adams too much. He's fun. That's the thing. It's like I don't have any like specific personal hatred for the guy. But I don't like him personally as like his person, because if you do any research on him, you know he's a utter puritanical jackass to the point where he virtually erased surrealist and gothic photography because him and his little clique in the 40s and 50s literally ran people literally sometimes out of countries for their work. He was an utter menace. He was like the conquistadors. It was crazy. There's a lot of photographers who did promotional photography and art for like silent surrealist films and such. And they had like full-on careers. They were artists. They had galleries. They did all that kind of stuff. This guy in the 40s and 50s harassed these guys to no end in the field because they weren't doing what he was doing. He was like Andy Warhol, but evil. He very much was like Andy Warhol, but just evil, in that he had like a dedicated clique. He had people go out and literally beat the shit out of other artists for not doing what he was doing. I don't care for Ansel Adams. He was a jackass. But that's the thing. People don't care about that because they don't care to know about the actual guy. They care about his books and like how his art ended up looking. And a lot of photography courses, I've only taken a few of them, and most of them I've quit because like they very much cared about like resolution and do exactly what I do. And I don't do that with art because that's not how art is supposed to be taught. It's like a math course. You're teaching people exactly how to do math how you do, and that's not teaching people math, that's telling people how to do math. That is when you're a bad teacher just there for a paycheck. You're not letting the people who are there to learn to actually like try and figure stuff out for themselves. Anyway, that's a different tangent. But yeah, just like Ansel would really, really just, man, his work is fine, but his person, utterly ridiculous, and ridiculously. Nope, I don't want that one. Utterly just harassive and all that. My problem with that is that like I do surrealist photography for the most part, and I'm just thinking like if I was doing the stuff I'm doing, because I technically could have been back then doing what I do, because photography is an old format. What I do quite literally could have been done back then. If I were around back then, I probably would have been harassed by Ansel if he knew about me. Because I'm capturing photos of the world in real life and making them dreamlike and surreal. And he hated that. He utterly hated that. He thought it was blasphemy. Anyway, yeah, so I recommend looking up Lasse Hoyle's work. He's a great photographer. If you can find Carl Glover, he tends to be a bit more on the down low. He goes by Aleph Studios. Aleph Studios these days. He runs a design firm for like various creatives and makes art for them. That tends to be how he phrases himself these days, is Aleph Studios. But that's also the other thing, is most of my work is influenced just by myself. I listen to a lot of music, I'm synesthetic, so I can't really give you like a very accurate list of like what influences me, because it could be from a per song basis of what I listen to. Okay, we need to recharge your battery soon. We're actually going to probably do that now. Yeah, we're going to do that now before we do anything else. I would be very interested to see a speed run of this. Just because you can literally speed up time with the time mill. So I don't really have to wait that long for that to like recharge the battery or anything, but I'm just like, how much tech would you need? How much like timing and skill would you need to like map down to brief seconds like how fast you can like recharge and move around, and how many trees need to be planted in specific areas to like purify it or get these running and progress. Like you would have to break down planting trees to a complete speedrun system of micromanaging. That would be very fascinating to see at something like a GDQ. Oh, we're climbing the tree. That's not what I wanted. Okay, we're gonna try and run out a bit further here with the battery. Okay, we have another battery stop here. Do we have that one? Not specifically. I'm gonna try and meld these two together and just see what happens. Okay. Regardless of what goes on, I'm gonna recharge the battery here. We got some more murals, too. So let's see if this keeps. Or if it dies. It's getting taller. I think it's working, yeah. I'm gonna pick up one of the fruits and see what this is. If it will let me. It won't let me, so we're gonna wait a little bit for that other one to fall. Okay, yeah, so this is just a new fruit. Okay. These fruit fresh? I think I made that joke last time. Oh, climbing the tree again. I don't want to do that. The trees have such a large radius. There we go. Nope, come back. Right. So we have that path. That actually is the path forward. Okay. So I'm going to plant a bunch of stuff. I'm going to quit yapping about art for a little bit and just focus on the game so we can make some notable progress. Nope, not that one. And with all these new trees, we will be able to get more seeds from them. Do we have any more? We have one more. Okay. I'm gonna plant this guy, like, over here. We also need to get some more battery juice. If any of the developers are actually, like, watching this, I noticed, that that's the thing, when you do YouTube, you can see when the algorithm likes things or not. I could see that the algorithm liked the last video just in general. I think that might just because there's such a drought of content for this game. But if any of them are watching me play this and they're like seeing me like refer to something or the other, like not how you guys phrase it, and I'm just making up terms for things, I'm sorry, but I'm just rolling with it. That's how I do. And honestly, if any developers were watching this, I would say, your game's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Thank you for the press kit that you left on your website, because like trying to find a logo, like just this a separate version of the for the first thumbnail for this game, I had to really try to look around for like the logo for the game, because I'm like, generally with VR games, when you're in first person perspectives like this, just having a screenshot of the game isn't really descriptive and good for like a YouTube thumbnail or anything like that. And I'm like, you know, the game logo would be very helpful here, and thankfully there was one in the press kit when I eventually found that press kit, but I'm kind of surprised the logo's such low quality as a PNG. It's great, but like it's such a very low res version of the logo. And I'm not sure if that's just the only logo that there is, but I found that kind of funny in the moment. I'm just like, Because like, I do graphic design and such. I'm like, this is a really small PNG, man. Okay. Easy enough. Yeah, once you get used to the motor control, that's the funniest thing. Is like the biggest complaint on Steam about this game was the motor controls. And once you get used to them, they work totally fine. It comes very naturally. You just have to pretend you're a weird creature on stilts. Maybe these people just didn't want to wiggle their arms around. I don't know. Do I need any more? I think we're good on that. What about the battery? The battery's fine. What is this? Okay, we need this guy. Last one of these we have at the moment. I'm gonna go over here. Okay, the battery is running out. Oh, this is just another part of it. This is where we came from before. You guys got any fruits? Whoa, there was a lot of fruits that came off of this. Yeah, I'm guessing once they start to get kind of quote-unquote spoiled, you just can't pick them up anymore. Like that one there. Okay, we're full on those guys. We could use some more of the previous ones that we were doing. Let's go back over there and see how the ones we've started to plant have been growing. Okay, they're starting to grow. We could probably put one here. Apparently, formations like that are quite literally like rainstorms, snowstorms, and like dust storms and such. Like that probably is a dust storm over there. That's probably a rainstorm. Okay, well this is more or less all good. We didn't look at the mural over there, so we're going to do that. I just want to advance time a bit more here for some of these guys. Oh, that's all of them. Okay. So let me take a look at the inventory. Yeah, like we're running low on some of the first original ones, but we still have some, which is nice. Apparently there are more. Apparently there are more fruits than what we can carry here. So I'm not doubting that at some point we might have to, like, get rid of some if we run into too many, because we're already almost full. But let's take a look at the murals over here. I ignored them last time. And I'm just going to double check on the battery real quick. Alright. Ooh. The low poly textures were still loaded in here. Yeah, the small windmills will activate the large windmills, which will activate the big one that we have been using as kind of like a main area, the one that's over there. That's kind of like the center one we have to, like, activate, like that windmill up there. We're probably going to have to activate that for it to blow at this one. Same with, like, there's that other windmill you can see way off in the distance over there. That probably has to blow at this one. You can also see another windmill behind the starting area, so we might have to go back towards the starting area at some point. The point is we need that big windmill, Panamona, to start spinning. I heard something weird. It's this guy. It's the sail on top of him. I'm like, what was that? That's what I'm talking about, though. It's like when you're in an empty space like this and there's just ambient sound. When you hear something weird, you're like, huh? It's that human monkey brain just being all natural. Like, what is it? Is it a lion? Is it a tiger? Oh. You're new. Okay. Hmm. This is dumb, but I'm just gonna try it anyway. Nope. It's gonna die. Or is it? It left a seed. Oh, did we actually figure something out like that? Yo! Oh, it's a, well, okay, so now we have a green heart-shaped fruit. Okay, no, we figured it out. Okay. I thought I was like, you know, this might work, but if it doesn't, I'm a kind of guy who keeps my expectations low for everything, so I'm like, oh, I might have a great idea, and unless I see that it works, then I'm not going to be happy about it. Nope, not this guy. Put you back. Not you either, please. Okay. Move controller, please. Thank you. I had to hold it way away from me. I'm like holding a giant tablet. Alright, so let's get more of these guys here so we can get more seeds for them. Time mill. Oh, we have another battery station. I thought that was an animal for a second, but it's just, it's just the shading on that. Looks almost kind of like a lavender. I don't think we can take any more of these. Yeah, no. Right. So I'm going to get a few more seeds for this guy, some more fruits. 866 fruit. We could hold a few more. It's better to stock up than to not have any. I think that's good enough for now, just so we can progress a bit. Okay, I do like how the game does have beacons of light like that for which direction you roughly should be heading in. Because otherwise I'd be probably getting kind of lost occasionally. Alright, that's all the fruits we have. I'm gonna head back to safety. And let her rip. Ooh, something happened. Something happened here. What happened? They all died. Combined together to match the soil. Oh, I see. Man, that kind of wasted a bunch of fruits, but... I see. I want to watch this first before I put any others down. Okay, that's unfortunate. Yeah, it was going so well and then they died. And it still died. What do you mean? We need to recharge that soon. But first I want to figure this out. So... it wants one of these, but it wants it vertical. Do you want me to... not that one. Do you want me to mesh this with this? Just try that? Also, let me pick up some of these. It's actually kind of sad when you do see, like, the trees just start to die very unfortunate deaths. Because they were doing so well. I think that might have been it, given that we got a trophy from it. Right, so... wait, let me do a little bit more just to double check. The game's saving. Right, so that is what was wanted. So at the same time, is this guy going to give me some fruit for me to plant more of them? Ooh. Okay, so we have a full inventory of fruits, like in type. So if we get any new types, I'm pretty sure we're going to have to start throwing some old ones away. Which I'm guessing means that if we needed those other fruits at any other point, we would have to backtrack, which is interesting. I'm not opposed to that, but it would probably be it would probably require some very attentive memory of where those previous ones were. Right. Like, yeah, we have to head that way. That's the other thing is, I don't know how long it's going to take me to beat this game, because it's supposed to be 6 to 8 hours, depending. I've already spent probably... I could actually check right now. Go over to my desk real quick. I have already been... yes, I know I'm out of the play area. I'm sorry. No, I don't need to change the volume. I lost my train of thought. Anyway, yeah, so we've already been playing for about an hour and 20-ish minutes. And we have pretty much just kind of backtracked a bit and crossed a river. That's kind of what we've done so far. So I'm just like, I don't know how long this is actually going to take. It could be a couple parts. It could be many parts. At present, I'm intending to beat this game. We'll see. I make no guarantees. But I am having a good time with it. Okay, let's go back, fill up the battery. Oop, right. Oop, no, not that. Any more? How many do we got? We could get a few more if we find them. There's a few on this tree here. Okay, that one's dead. There's some right in front of me. No, not the time mill. Not the time mill. That's the other thing is I'm so glad that I did end up doing some research on this just so I can call a few things by their correct names. Because that's never stated in game, really. Not to my knowledge, at least. From playing this so far. We're just going to put some more out here so we can just get this whole area purified at once. And there's another path this way. So I may as well get this prepped for whenever we go down this. We're going to go down that way first towards those windmills. But yeah, my goal for this game in terms of like production rate of it, I'm kind of planning on doing maybe like 2-hour-ish sessions per part. Normally with a lot of games I tend to do 2.5 to 3.5 is kind of what I aim for most of the time. But given that this is VR, I think 2-ish hours is kind of the name of the game right now. Okay. Just put down a ton of them. Let's refill the battery. And is there any that we can restock off of? Not really, so... Oh, yeah, there is. Come back. Thank you. There's a few more, actually. All right. Of course, I see another one. That's the thing, is like, once you get into, like, the vibe of picking the fruits and finding the fruits and planting the fruits, all of the delicious fruits, you kind of just get kind of a goblin mentality of, like, you know you need these to progress the game, so the moment you see them, you're like, I need that. I need it. Right. So, now that we are stocked up and ready to go, let us progress. Time. Alrighty then. So... yeah, it all worked. Nice. So what are these? Just murals of different flowers and plants? I mean, that's fine. Oh, we got a tiny little windmill, the first new structure we've seen. Plant trees and make sure they survive a few days to awaken the windmill. I mean, there's nothing super hazardous that I'm seeing over here. We got another battery station over here. What kind? This kind. Some weird kind of gleeby sound effect going on from the windmill or this area or something. Wow. 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 You know, with this place being a bit of a desolate wasteland, it's kind of funny because right now there are massive dust storms from the wildfires in Canada going on right now. So, like, I went out there earlier today and I'm like, because it is dusty. Planet's Clannon. Planet's dying, Cloud. I never did finish playing Final Fantasy VII Remake. I need to get around to that at some point. It's been a few years. The world is on fire. And I'm playing a game about nature and time. It is time for nature. Okay, I'm gonna plant something here because this is kind of like a weird dead zone. Whoa! Oh, that looks cool. That looks really cool in VR. And it's fixed that little one, which has... I was going to say, is it going to progress to the windmill over there? It looks like it is. I think the plants are growing higher on that one. It's just taken a while. I think we have to go there. I think that's what this is leading to. So in that case, I would like to get some more seeds from some trees. What do we have for it? Yeah, we need a few more. Okay. No, 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 no. I can't see. Okay, we are full on those. I think that's good enough for now. I want to get to this battery tree. The lighting has changed, so I'm going to assume it wants a different type of tree here. Yeah, it's going to have us do some sort of crossing at some point. There's another battery tree over there, it looks like. And another little windmill. Right, let her rip. Okay, everything seems to be good with this. Yeah, when it comes to playing some more VR games, I'm very curious how Moss is going to go. I never beat Moss. I thought it was really, really good. I know there's a sequel to Moss. I don't plan on getting that or playing that because it's on the PlayStation VR 2 and like the Steam Index and stuff. I don't have those systems. I don't really care about those systems. But it still weirds me out how the one PlayStation VR game that I have that cannot be played on the PlayStation 5 for some reason, inexplicably, is Robinson the Journey. I love Robinson the Journey a lot. It's a very, very solid Crytek game. One of the best for the console, in my opinion, with a good story and great characters. Like, I love Higgs. Higgs is a fantastic little robot buddy. He's sassy. He's British. And, yeah, he's got that dry humor I like. But I'm just surprised that that game is not compatible with the PlayStation 5 for some reason when it's a Blu-ray disc that just needs to be in a Blu-ray player to play. And the way I have this hooked up, I can use the PlayStation VR on the PS5. It's not like there's really a system issue. I just don't know why. It uses the same controllers, everything. So if in the future we do play through Robinson the Journey again for the channel, I will have to hook up the PlayStation VR to my PS4 again and play it that way. That's the only game that I have to do that with the current setup. And it's just a weird PlayStation thing. Oop, not the shovel. Not the shovel. Just making the fruits bounce around like this. There we go. Alright, so we're going to cross over there first. Going to raise up if we can. There we go. And we're running. Got our battery. Did time change by itself? I don't know. Aurora Borealis. The color palette here reminds me that I have The Major. It's a book by... It's a story by Mobius. And I still need to read it. I got it for Christmas. And I keep forgetting... Did my hole disappear? And I keep forgetting to read it. Whoa. Why is my hole disappearing? That's a new thing. I've not seen the hole disappear before. Oh, I see. We're probably not going to go over there. I don't know if we are or not, but we have to, for the vines to get up towards the top of the larger windmill, we need to activate this other windmill to help that along. I see now. Okay. Where's our battery at? Our battery's fine for the moment. I'd like to plant one more tree. Nope, we're out of time. Time. The Masters of the Universe! Yeah, when the ground started, like, not accepting my shovel claw stuff, that kind of freaked me out a bit. I was like, is this a new game mechanic where we're gonna have to suffer? Is this where the BDSM comes into the game? I've heard about this. This is the right game, right? Okay. So we have trees over here. We got the windmills up here. So let's plant one here. It's the horizontal one. I think if it seems like I'm taking a moment to, like, just pick a seed every time, I'm just double checking because there have been times where the game has thrown me a curveball. Most of the times where I'm like, why are the trees dying, is because I'm not paying attention to, like, what it specifically wants in every category. And I'm also the type of person where it doesn't really matter to me how long I take to think about stuff. It's just, like, the fact that you get it right. Doing things slowly is not a problem. If you watched Mr. Rogers as a kid, you would know that. As long as you get it right. Let her rip. Alright. Yeah, the Panemona looks so cool. Okay, we have it go in there. Yeah, I mean, the tower is complete with what we need it for, so I'm guessing we... There's a battery tree over there. We do have to go over there. Okay. So, we're gonna do that during the day. Get some seeds. Get some fruit. Make a salad. Think we can take these last two. Yep. And then this last one down here. If I can get to it. Thank you. It's kind of weird to like be right in the face of like the JPEGs in this tree for all the leaf effects, and they're also stylized. It's just like, where am I? I'm in a cell shaded trap. Just stuck in the leaves, man. Okay, let's re-up the battery real quick just to double check. We do need it, actually. Nope, go back in. Alright, so now we're gonna make the trek across to this windmill. Alright, let's get running. Battery's looking good, but we need to plant trees right away. Horizontal. Okay, we need to charge the battery up after this guy. Let her rip. Like, that just looks so cool, dude. It's just such a cool mechanic. You don't see games do this, really. It's such a very specific mechanic, though, too. Controlling time and growing trees. Just like... I loved the... God, what was it called? The gardening game for the Miiverse. Not the Miiverse. The, was it the Miiverse? Street Pass. On the 3DS. I bring up the 3D for the 3DS again, but just like... The gardening game for the 3DS through Street Pass, I was obsessed with that in like 2012, 2013, 2014. I also was at the same time managing a garden for a local pastor who no longer is, he's probably not dead, but he's definitely like not living in that house anymore. I think he sold that off years and years ago. But I managed his gardens for a few summers, and I just remember being obsessed with that game while I was also actually gardening. My main art project is still about flowers and like insects and plants and such. So I love hiking. I love the outdoors. I'm a very outdoorsy person. But yeah, it's just kind of it's very funny to me because even when I think back to my very, very early childhood, like I'm talking like 3 to 4 years old, I was obsessed with butterflies, and I loved butterfly books. I had butterfly toys. Just like I've always been this kind of person. So, you know, like, I just really appreciate stuff like this that's more nature themed. Okay, so let's fill up our battery. Okay, that one is expired. Oop. I think that might have been my phone. Yes, it was. It's fine. I had it propped on the table and I just kind of brushed it off. It's fine. This thing is, I have a table right next to me so I can put the headset and the controllers down if I need to take a break or do anything like that, so... Okay, looks like we're all good on the fruit. Alright, let's finally see what your deal is. You look really cool. Oh, we do need to plant more trees along the way as well, it seems, which is good that we re-up the fruit. Was that the right fruit? I feel like this is not the right... I was like, did I grab the right one? There we go. That's why you gotta wait and just double check everything you're doing. I think we just need to link it up with the trees and the grass. Yeah, we need to link it up with the trees and the grass, and then it seems to want us to climb it? We'll see about that in a moment. I'm looking at this right now from a perspective of someone who grew up in the late 90s and early 2000s as a little kid. And, I'm just thinking, like, I could not imagine showing this in 3D to somebody at that time. It would blow their frickin' mind. But once again, even the way that you're watching it on YouTube right now, or whatever platform this is on in the future, this is one of those things that, like, you kind of have to get the full scope of this. You kind of do have to see it the way that it has been designed to be seen. I'm just capturing it in a way that is viewable for most people. Right, so it said the mural shows us climbing it, so I guess we're gonna see about that. Do we really have to climb this thing? It looks so tall from here. That's the other thing. I'm seeing these symbols with the jumping action on these posts. I told at the beginning of this how there seems to be some sort of jumping mechanic from what I saw in some of the trailers for this game. Are we gonna learn that up here? Can we climb this? I can't move any more closer to it. Oh, yes, we can. Okay. It's not the pickup button, it's the grabbing button. Are we... Oh, I think we might be stuck in the tree, actually, not on the windmill itself. Maybe? Oh, I think it still just wants us to grab onto the greenery, specifically, not the wood. I don't think we're supposed to be seeing this. And it is spooky in 3D. Oh, this is like the dark world of VR. Where are we? What is this? I can't see anything. Okay. I don't think we were supposed to see that, but okay, that was scary. Trebuchet, if you're watching this, I think I found a bug. I don't know what that was. I was just trying to climb up this windmill. Can I do anything here? Like, it shows us jumping over to that. I don't, like, have knowledge of the jumping ability, specifically. Oh, one of these. So, I think we're able to put the time mill in this like we did at the beginning of the game. Hold on. I want to back up a little. This is a very reminiscent stone to the kind of, like, circular monolith stones I see in Akihiro Izuhara's work. So I'm assuming we put the time mill in here. Yeah. There we go. You can now glide. Okay, so we have a glider on our stilts as well, I guess. I was wondering, like, do we have wings and we just haven't been able to use them because we can't really see our character aside from the claw hands? So they're on our stilts. You can now glide to these posts. Keep the center button and the trigger button pressed to aim. Release to glide. Oh, just release that. Huh. Okay, that is one of the main windmills successfully linked, it looks like. You can see the green energy flowing. I think I see... Yeah, the middle windmill is, like, kind of moving a bit now. That's good. Ugh, so much bloom here, it looks like Tears of the Kingdom. It's almost like Elden Ring. No, this is like the Golden Forest area at the beginning of Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, whatever that scary grid zone was, I don't think we were supposed to see that. So we do this, we see the reticule, release. 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 Oh, we can even go up. This is fun. You would think this would be disorientating, but it's actually not. Release. I mean, I guess we actually are some sort of, like, avian creature. I kind of assume that from the claw hands, which kind of look birdish. But there's also feather plumes whenever we land. So I'm assuming we're some type of weird bird creature. Yeah, you see that? Okay, so now we're in a new area. We need... Hold on. We need these. Okay, that's correct. I'm probably going to be stopping soon. I'd like to get this battery area up and running. See what's next. Up ahead. Because I am still very... That's the thing, we're definitely doing a part 3 of this again. Okay, take a look at the battery, we're fine. Okay, let her rip. Yeah, like I'm sure there's some speedrun strats for some of this kind of stuff that you could do, just abusing this time system. I would be very interested to see something like that. I'm not going to path out and try to figure stuff like that out, but I would absolutely love to see somebody just mess with the physics and logic of this game's control system. That would be really fun to see. Alright, so yeah, the big windmill to the bigger windmill with the big windmill. Yeah, this is basically saying, like, hey, you need to activate all these big windmills to get the biggest windmill going. It's just like, yep, I know. I think that's it for the seeds that we have. We're pretty much full on them anyway, it's fine. Okay, so let's take a look at what's up ahead. Okay, we can jump along there to get back, it seems. So, aim, release. Aim, release. Let me take a look at those first, actually. Yeah, just kind of redoubling down on, like, what this culture does and what you're supposed to be doing. Planting trees, make the trees. Yeah, okay. That's fine. That's the thing, the controls are, I know that, like, people were complaining about the controls for this. The controls in this game are fine. It just does take a few moments, especially at the beginning of the game, to get kind of used to it. But I think this is... Especially this, I expected this to be kind of nauseating from when I saw it in the trailer. This is fine. This is one of the least nauseating, like, fast movement controls I've experienced in a VR game. Which is saying a lot, because, like, Skyrim VR, when you're running and such and moving around real fast and fighting... Oh, man, can that get nauseating. And we're kind of back to where we started, I think. Which leads me to think that, yep, we just have to cross back to the big windmill again, and... How's our battery? Our battery's fine. Yeah, we're back where we started. Alright, so let's cross back to the big windmill, and I think I might be done today for this part. Well, look at that. I've heard less of the audio glitch in this session than I did in the first one. That was like one of the few times I've noticed it. Yeah, we got one of them. We have 3 more, I think. I know that there's 5 areas in this game. So I'm assuming that the last area is unlocked after we finish this windmill. Oh yeah, it's even got one of the blades covered in fabric now. The Panamona. Such a fancy word. So the next area, it does want us to go over here. So what is up here? Something that doesn't concern us right now, it seems. I do see another tree over here I don't know if we've interacted with. I just want to take a look at it. There's a few of them. This is Autumn Vertical Circle. Autumn Vertical Square. Autumn Horizontal Circles. Vertical Circle, it's the first one we got. Okay, we don't need this. I'm gonna assume the other one's fine too. But yeah, we're making good progress with this so far, I think. This is definitely gonna be a few parts. We can't just freely jump from stuff. We have to be, like, on those posts, I guess. Yeah, I'm enjoying this game a lot. And I don't have a whole lot else to say about it in that manner because I said a lot of that at the beginning. Take a look at this new area. That looks interesting. Also, there's like a bridge up here. Can we run up here? I'm actively trying to run up here, thank you. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so the next area seems to be introducing us to some of the weather aspects of this game. Okay. Like, there's already been weather aspects, but it looks like hazard weather aspects. Okay. So I have a feeling next time's going to be much more of a shut up and figure it out kind of session. And less yapping. Yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. We're making progress. This is going very well. And I feel like the next time is going to be very interesting with whatever those are. One of them's clearly a tornado and a dust storm. I think those other two off to the sides are rainstorms. One of them moves. Do both of them move? Yeah, they both move. They move in different directions. Okay. In any case, yeah, I'm still pretty impressed with this game. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to all of my rambling today. And we will continue next time with more Winds and Leaves. And we'll get around to Concrete Genie's VR session stuff. I might do that in between. I might be doing that in between this part and the next part. I don't know yet. But we'll see. In any case, thank you for watching. Continue next time with some more of this. And we'll try to complete this windmill. At least one blade at a time. So have a good night, and see you later.